Hello, this is Andrew Dudich for WITY, and right now we're talking about farm safety and safety in general right now. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your new position?
Sure. My name is Trooper Tracy Lillard, and I'm with the Illinois State Police, and I've taken over a position entitled the Statewide Social Media Coordinator. And what that means is I just want to be able to push our message of safety out by utilizing social media.
And right now we've been talking a little bit about farm safety and safety in the different types of rural areas. And no matter where you are in Illinois, you're probably going to be associated somehow with agriculture if you're out and about. And what are some of the basic things we need to look for? A lot of the time we hear about them and we just get used to them, but I think we need reminders.
Right. Some of the things that I really want people to recognize, especially during harvest this year, is the slow-moving vehicle emblem and what that emblem actually means. A lot of times people, I think, see that emblem on things and they don't really associate what it means. So just to remind motorists that slow-moving vehicle emblem not only means that vehicle is moving at a slower rate than what the traffic would normally allow. So say it's 55, they might be traveling at 25, or the speed limit might be 60 and they're traveling at a much lower rate. The reason that they put those on there is because those pieces of equipment might take up a larger piece of the road. They might require different things with bridges, widths and stuff like that. And so basically that slow-moving vehicle emblem is to alert motorists not only that they travel at a slower speed, but that the operations of that driver might be a little bit different than what they're normally accustomed to. So we want the motorist to slow down, give them distance, back off of them just a little bit, and then be alert and be aware that they might be doing something that they might be turning left, but it looks like they're turning right when they go to swing at an intersection. So really education on that slow-moving vehicle emblem is very important right now, especially during harvest. And we reiterate it over and over, and just in hopes that people will understand.
We need to be a lot more aware because they're not, like you mentioned, going to turn the same way, and they're not going to be doing the same types of things or using entrances that we're expecting.
Absolutely. And the passing at an intersection is a huge issue right now. People get very impatient, and if you haven't been able to tell that just the motoring public in general is just very impatient. They don't allow themselves enough time, a lot of times, to get to work or to their destination, and so they're in a hurry, and so they get caught up behind a tractor or behind farm equipment that's moving at a slower rate. They get frustrated, and then when there's that one opportunity, they think they can swing out and pass everybody. Well, it happens to be at an intersection, and the reason that farmer was driving slower is because he was getting ready to turn into that intersection, and there can be a deadly crash. So anytime that there's an intersection, regardless if it's harvest or not, passing it at an intersection is illegal in Illinois. So railroad crossings, bridges, and then obviously intersections, and we just want to make sure the public understands that.
If people are familiar with the rural lifestyle, sometimes they forget that there's people sharing our roads that might not be. So They might not know how this equipment works. And also right now, in a lot of rural intersections, corn is very high.
Absolutely. The corn is extremely high this year, and hopefully it'll be out of the fields here quickly, which will help with visibility. But a lot of times the motorists aren't sure, they might be traveling through here from another area. They might be coming down to visit, and they don't understand this whole operation of what this means with slow-moving equipment. And the farmers themselves need to make sure that they're very vigilant and that they do everything that they can in their power to be seen out there, and to make sure that their lights are working, that they're using them, and that the motorists can see them and share the road with them.
And some of this equipment is out year-round where we need to pay attention if it's construction equipment or golf carts in a lot of the smaller communities.
Right. There's been an increase of communities that have golf carts, and a lot of them are putting signs on their cart just to identify them. Buggies, the Amish community has a large amount of buggies in our area, and we just want to make sure that the public sees not only the tractors for just harvest or for planting, but that slow-moving vehicle emblem might be on a pickup truck pulling an anhydrous tank, or the pickup truck pulling a grain head. It doesn't necessarily have to be a big green or red or yellow tractor. It could be just something else, but we want to make sure that sign is what the motorists see.
And then in general, what are your basic tips that people always need to be paying attention for?
Sure. We have identified what we call the fatal four, and it's the top 4 reasons that people are dying in car accidents. And in Illinois, it's speeding, driving under the influence, and that could be alcohol, drugs, or a combination thereof. Seatbelts and not wearing them correctly or just eliminating them altogether, and then distracted driving. And distracted driving, it encompasses a lot of things. It's not just cell phones. We've seen people that are distracted by food or drink or passengers or radio. It could be a multitude of things, but that cell phone is quickly becoming one of the leading killers, and we just want to make sure that people are alert when they're driving down the road so a crash doesn't happen.
And since you're working more with social media now, how can people kind of follow you and see these tips and pictures
Sure.
as you're working on them?
That's great. That's a great point. I'm running the Illinois State Police Facebook page, also the Illinois State Police District 10 page. I have a Trooper Tracy page, and then I have K9 Yachty and K9 Ito. I have been trying to share tips and information, traffic information. If it's specific to this area, obviously it's on the District 10 page, which is out of Pasodum. But I've really just been trying to highlight a lot of safety information on all of those platforms so that the public can be, our goal is that the public makes it from point A to point B alive. And we want to use social media as a tool to do that. And so I've been sharing a lot of information on there, and hopefully they can follow me and learn from something.
And you have fun with it also. It's a fun way to interject those reminders into our everyday life, because safety is something that we should always think about.
Absolutely. If you make it fun and entertaining, that's, I think, what the public is looking for. And so I try to get my message across, whether it's something, kind of silly or if it's something that's serious. But I want the public to understand that they might not be the bad driver. It's everybody else they're sharing the road with, and to be very cognizant of that when they're driving.
Well, thank you so much for sharing some of your tips. We definitely invite you to be able to follow Tracy Lillard on all of those different social media channels and be able to stick around with us for more videos and interviews all week long for Farm Safety Week. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
This has been Andrew Dudas for WITY.